still going. Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, we're excited to be here. Awesome. My name is Jonathan Voss. I'm the Ward 9 City Councilor. I just want to thank everyone for being here. The Cornelia Warren Farm Town Hall. That's a mouthful. Or, as I like to say, just an important public input hearing for your thoughts and opinion on the greatest and latest farm that we have here in Waltham, the only one operating right now. So I just want to give you guys a quick overview. I'm not going to give you an overview. I want to give a quick shout out to all the electeds that are in the room. We have Senator Barrett in the house. You can say hi. We have at-large Councilor O'Brien in the house. We have Councilor Darcy in the house. We have at-large Councilor Bradley-MacArthur in the house. Am I missing anyone? Oh, we have Councilor Dunn in the back. Thanks for being here. And I'm a Ward 9 Councilor, but I'm also just a South Side. So thanks for being here, everyone.
What's your name?
Jonathan Potts, PAC. So I have the great privilege of bringing on board Councilor Bradley-MacArthur to help us with a few words, and we're going to get the show started. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here tonight. There are some activities, well, housekeeping things. There's activities for the kids or adults in the back. There's fidgets, crayons. Feel free to doodle. That's always allowed. And through this door are the restrooms. So now that we're done with housekeeping items, I would like to introduce a woman that I met back in the summer of 2022, so last year. And her name is Emma Zunis. She is a mom. She's a Waltham resident. She is also has her master's in public health and a PhD. She is a very smart woman, and she also has a real passion for urban agriculture. It's actually what led her to move here to Waltham from North Carolina. We had a lovely conversation at the Waltham Farmers Market, and I thought who better to talk about 240 Beaver Street and the urban agriculture that's happening there than someone like Emma. So I'd like to introduce Emma. She's going to be presenting some information about the land at 240 Beaver Street, and then we are going to hear from all of you that would like to come up and speak. Can you all hear me? Yes. Even better. Who knew? All right, so I'll get down to this part. I don't have any slides here. So as Colleen said, thank you very much for that introduction. I'm Emma Zunis. I am a fellow Ward 9er, so don't discount that. I also have a Z in my last name. 2021, after living in North Carolina for 10 years. My husband and I are both originally from the greater Boston area, knew we wanted to move back, and we were faced with this conundrum of where do we have this amazing privilege and choice to move back to, and we chose Waltham. And the farm is definitely one of the key pieces that brought us here, not only as a parent and as a resident of our planet, right, and all the great things that the farm has given to us, but also, as Colleen mentioned, my background in public health and specifically in nutrition, I'm acutely aware of what urban agriculture can do for us, writ large, as well as some of our most disadvantaged residents and community members. So that is the hat with which I entered the door, but now I'm going to kind of put that hat to the side a little bit and present to you all here as a moderator, focusing on you all, right, and on what brings us here together tonight into this space. And so we have a quick agenda here. We're going to quickly give an overview of what the purpose is of our meeting, give a very brief historical background of the land at 240 Beaver Street, give a little bit of an overview of our current context, right, what's going on in our more recent collective memory, and then, again, the majority of this evening will be you all, the community, giving you all a voice here tonight to share what your thoughts and ideas and hopes and aspirations are for this beautiful piece of land. So, the land was purchased officially last year in 2022, right? And since that acquisition, there has been no opportunity for public input from Waltham community members regarding the potential reuses of this land at 240 Beaver Street. And so the goal of bringing everyone here together tonight is to increase transparency, increase public input, and again, give a voice to the residents who are going to enjoy, right, everything that 240 Beaver Street ultimately has to offer, has offered, and will continue to offer. So a little bit of the historical background. I'll go pretty quickly through a lot of this. We would be remiss if we didn't mention Cornelia Warren. She was alive in the 1800s, 1900s, farmer and philanthropist, and she and her estate have donated hundreds of acres of land to the Girl Scouts, to the city of Waltham, Massachusetts College of Agriculture, and others. With her comes her legacy, right? And that is, again, what brings us here today. Part of what she donated are these 58 acres, originally donated by her estate, to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts College of Agriculture in 1922. And it's seen here on the map. And with, I don't know if you can see a cursor, but the 240 Beaver Street area is right here in the bottom. So we have this first parcel, right, this larger parcel of land at 240 Beaver Street, which is about 25 acres. And then there's also a smaller parcel, which is about 3 acres off to the side, and that is where Grow and the community gardens currently are. And so again, total acreage is about 28 acres or so. So again, a little bit of a historical perspective. So the land was donated by the estate. UMass owned this land for a number of years, including numerous things that they did there, right? They did a lot of experiments and had the illustrious invention of a couple of big vegetables in the 1950s, the Waltham plant broccoli, Waltham butternut squash, and a fun fact, I have a friend up in Bangor, Maine, who's involved with school gardens, and she just sent me a message saying, I ordered our seeds for the spring, Waltham broccoli, Waltham butternut squash. They conducted various soil surveys. They stated the location of the second best soils in New England. And it was also the location of various organizations, including the Waltham Gardens Club, New England Rose Society, Daylily Society, 4-H leaders, etc. A little bit more of the history of the butternut squash. It was invented in the 40s over in Stowe. This is new to me upon moving to Waltham to learn about the illustrious history of the butternut squash. Smooth as butter, sweet as a nut, most popular squash in the world, and we get to revisit that. A little bit more about the broccoli, again developed at UMass. Due to my friend in New England, right, I know that it is native to the First New England chill. Seeds grow compact, hardy, and open pollinated. Definitely a huge benefit for our native food sources. So bringing us a little bit
out of the first part of the century, the last century, into today, right, a little bit more collective memories. So in 2018, Councilor Darcy and a couple others submitted a resolution calling on the city to acquire the entire field stations located at 240 Beaver Street in efforts to protect the last remaining farm in Waltham. And a number of you may have participated in this petition back then, which garnered over 7,000 votes to urge the city to indeed move forward with this and acquire the property and protect the farm in perpetuity for agricultural uses. So indeed, in March of last year, the city of Waltham did close on this acquisition of the 28 acres for a total of over $17 million. And importantly, CPA funds, so Community Preservation Act funds, were used to acquire this land, or partially used to acquire this land, right? So these funds are generated from fees on real estate transactions. They're paid for by Waltham residents, us, as well as some funds matched by funds from the state. So that kind of brings us to today, right where we are, with some outstanding concerns for the use of this land at 240 Beaver Street. So despite being purchased by CPA funds, the city has not placed conservation restrictions on the site as required by Massachusetts. This is really important and might limit what we can do and limit our ability to secure funds in the future. In addition, an outstanding issue is remediation at two work sites. And this has garnered a lot of attention from both Waltham residents and the broader community, and might be what has spurred some interest in you all bringing you here today. And so importantly, there is an issue of access, right, to the site for the current operators of the land, stewards of the land, to be able to use the land as they have been for the past few decades. And so what are we asking from you all? Why are we bringing you all here tonight, right? So this is really an opportunity for you all to voice your visions, your ideas, your hopes, your aspirations for future reuse of this property at 240 Beaver Street. To continue to advocate for its rich and historical agricultural traditions as our last and only remaining working farm in Waltham. So please contact your city councilors. We have a list of their emails and contact information at the end of this presentation, and request that they really protect this resource, right? I know for myself, it is what drew me here to Waltham. It is what continues to feed and nourish and grow people and residents in Waltham. So please request that they protect this specifically for agricultural purposes. Urge the City Council to draft and approve their own RFP, not from the mayor, that reflects the overall wishes, again, of the residents, the community of Waltham. At the end, or actually when you all walked in, I believe you all got a paper copy of the survey that had a QR code as well, so you can fill it out online, electronically if you wish. And that is a link to a survey about your wishes and desires for this land. What do you hope that this land at 240 Beaver Street that is now in custody of the city of Waltham be used for? So please fill that out, and that's another way that your voices can be heard this evening. And there's just a link for it if anyone wants to snap a picture right now. So I'm going to be done talking for now, at least with my moderator hat on. I'll speak as a personal resident later. So when we open the floor to you all, when you speak and start your turn, please state your name and your residential address. We ask that residents speak for no more than 3 minutes. There are a lot of folks in here who want to have their voices heard, and we want to hear them all, so please try to limit yourselves as best as possible to 3 minutes. I know it says 4 here. There were more people, so we had to shorten the timeline a little bit. Please sign the sign-in sheet. It's how we can stay in contact with you and keep you up to date about what's going on, and make sure that the lines of communication are two ways, right? An FYI that I meant to say at the beginning, and I'll say it now, is this meeting is being video recorded, right? So in case anyone has any concerns about that and wants to submit any comments in writing later on, that's totally fine. Also, if anyone, like me, likes to watch this after the fact, you forgot something, it'll be there for you as well.
Could you ask who's being recorded this evening?
Is anyone else
Who is recording?
I'm recording of George Darcy at number 93 Hobbs Road, and I think this is another gentleman. Thank you.
Anyone else other than those two individuals? Thank you. And then after this, the meeting will be transcribed, right? So the comments that you all make here in public tonight will be recorded, written down, collected, synthesized, aggregated, and then disseminated to you all, right? So that you have a record as well of what happened this evening. I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much. Just a really phenomenal. Thank you, Emma. Really appreciate your interest and passion for this and your experience with nutrition and public health, all of which is part of urban agriculture and here in the city of Waltham. So we'll start the feedback portion. If you want people form a line.
Yeah, we can have people lined up here. We'll just shut this off.
Yes.
Will there be time for questions, or do we get up front in order to ask a question?
If you could come up to the front and ask your question and provide your input, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Emily Superior. I live in North Waltham, and I had the privilege of getting my boots dirty at Waltham Fields Community Farm, learning how to work on wheat crew. Waltham Fields Community Farm is operating, or has been operating in recent years on nearly 30 acres, as Emma showed us during the presentation. Dedicated volunteers and staff have spent decades remediating the soil, building educational programs, and revitalizing Waltham agriculture. The mayor recently issued this RFP for just under 11 acres of land and buildings at 240 Beaver Street. The RFP doesn't include parking, doesn't include office space, and limits operations severely in a variety of ways. Decontamination is absolutely key to the work that we need to do at 240 Beaver Street. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see so many awesome Waltham agriculture people here, so many Eastern Massachusetts agriculture people here. We have to decontaminate, of course, but the mayor hasn't told us what's going to happen after we decontaminate that site. And there is a huge swath of land there that there's been no transparency about what's going to happen. There's been RFPs for the remediation, but no RFPs for what's going to happen after. All we know is that right now, in current RFPs, there is a huge reduction in the amount of space that current tenants would have access to. And what we know for this season and under the current RFP seasons in the future is that people will have less access in Waltham to fresh, nutritious food, to nutrition education programs, to agriculture education programs, and to outdoor access in general. We're not supposed to use anecdotes in these types of discussions. A lot of us are told it's not really helpful, but I'm going to anyways, which is that it changed my life to be a volunteer and then a farm worker at Waltham Fields Community Farm and talking to other people, working with so many other people there, going to farm days so many years. I know it's changed other people's lives too. So please, let's not go, this RFP makes no sense. We don't know what's gonna happen with that other chunk of land. Let's not do this. Let's do this the right way. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello,
Apologies.
my name is Emily Horton Hall. I live at 30 Marlborough Road, and this just doesn't make any sense. I don't have any prepared speeches, but it just is so frustrating. I've lived in Waltham for 8 years. I love this city. I brag constantly about Waltham Fields and how we have a farm, and before the CSA got too popular, I had a CSA with Waltham Fields, and I love it. My son has taken classes there. It's such an asset to the community, and more than that, the frustrating part of it, not is that we might lose it, but that there has been no transparency from the mayor, and I love my city councilors, La Paz and Darcy, you know, I love them, but I've also heard that different things about different votes, and I just don't know what's going on, and it seems like nobody else does either, and that's incredibly frustrating. And I've gotten no clarity from anywhere, and it seems like Waltham Fields, the major tenants on the farms, also have no clarity and have not been directly spoken to. And I know that there's lots of talk of the mayor. Is this the mayor's fault? Is she out doing this? Like, what is happening, and what's the city council's role? How can we find out more? This can't just happen, you know? So, obviously I'm pro Waltham Fields, keeping the farm in there, and pro transparency. This is just mind-boggling that this can happen.
Hi, my name is Leo Tightly. I live in South Street in Waltham. Waltham Fields Community Farm is one of Waltham's most valuable assets. Innovation is both a skill and accomplishment we claim to value highly. The creators and maintainers of Waltham Fields Community Farm have demonstrated tremendous innovation over the past 29 years. Innovation that strengthens Waltham's resilience in times of uncertainty. This was clearly demonstrated in the farm's maintenance of full capacity during the COVID disruption. The RFP for farming at 140 Beaver Street should maximize the likelihood of continued viability of this jewel of innovation that has been made available to Waltham.
Hello, my name is Dave Giacomosi. I live at 10 Lincoln Park Drive. I own my property abuts the farms. My wife and I have been part of CSA for the last 10 years. We like it, we enjoy going there. I know that this land was purchased over the course of the years. There was a lot of negotiation with UMass when they said they were going to get rid of it. The purpose that Jeanette McCarthy wanted to buy this property was to keep it from being developed to where people would come in with more housing in there or multi-floored apartments and so forth. So I believe the property was purchased for that purpose, is to keep it from being developed. One of the things that the young lady said at the beginning is there's been no placed conservation on that property yet by the city council. I don't know what that means. I'd like some clarity on that as to where that would leave us. Personally, I don't mind the CSA staying in there. I have a feeling, though, it may not be profitable enough to sustain itself, that if we have to go to the council and our council members, then we need to come back with alternatives to the farm if the farm would not exist the way it does not. And I would suggest that we make a conservation property where people could go and enjoy a walk such as Beaver Brook or something of that nature, where we have trails to walk and kids can ride their bikes and there's trees and other stuff, if the farm can exist at the present level.
It should.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My name is Diane. I live at 147 Bishop's Forest Drive, and I have a grow plot, and I've been a CSA holder for flowers. The reason I'm up here right now is to read a letter from Jennifer Rose, who's a long-time community activist in Waltham, but she's unfortunately home with COVID. So let me read her statement if you will indulge me. My name is Jennifer Rose. I live at 35 Chesterbrook Road. Thank you for holding this public meeting on a matter of such importance to our community. The mayor's attempt to essentially sneak this matter through the council during the holidays was disingenuous and disrespectful. I am certain that many people will speak about Waltham Fields Community Farm and the vital ways it serves local residents, especially those facing food insecurity. So I want to focus my remarks on the process surrounding this disposition, as well as other parallel situations. The purchase of the field station was a process long in the making and involved a lot of work by the farm, Waltham Land Trust, Senator Mike Barrett, and others, including the City Council and the Mayor. A number of official city documents mention the wisdom of acquiring the parcel should UMass no longer use it. So why is the city now asking people what they'd like to see there? It has been abundantly clear throughout the purchase process that the use would be for agriculture and open space. Why was the city utterly unprepared with RFPs and or leases for existing tenants? Why did the city have no meeting with the current major tenant, the farm, about how best to go about cleaning up waste at one end of the property, a goal shared by all tenants, including the farm, while at the same time allowing the farm to continue operations? I am a city planner. I have had the opportunity to work with a number of different cities, and I have never seen a more dysfunctional approach to decision-making than the way things are done here. I have never seen a community whose leaders don't even bother to pay lip service to working with nonprofit shareholders. I have never observed a city that does less planning. I can't imagine any other city where someone from the planning department, public works, and ultimately the chosen contractor wouldn't simply hold a meeting with the farm staff, walk the property, and figure out the best way to accomplish the cleanup with the least disruption. Instead, the mayor blithely has decreed that there is only one way to do the cleanup, that it had to be voted on at the council over the holidays, and that it was so urgent that any objection would mean that the person making it didn't care about the environment. Oh, okay. I thought I could count as two since I'm Jennifer.
I'll give you 3 more minutes. Yeah, thank you.
We'll make sure this is published for you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Sachs. I live on Warwick Ave. So this meeting is to ask the community for suggestions on potential reuses for the former 28-acre UMass Field Station site located at 240 Beaver. I'm here to say there is no better use than the one that currently exists. The community farm used the property to cultivate the land in order to help educate the community and provide hundreds of families with locally grown and nourishing fruits and vegetables. I simply don't understand why the city wants to consider any other alternatives. I frequently drive by the farm, and every time I do, I think to myself, what a gift it is to have such a precious resource, including the dedicated group of hardworking people that operate it, right here in our community. It seems to me as though the small area of remediation that will take place is being used as an excuse to evict the farm. The farm has been operating in and serving our community for 3 decades, and they bring much more to the community than they take. I think they've earned the right to and deserve more consideration and respect than they seem to be getting. To the extent that Waltham has needs that require land, there is plenty of it at the Fernald property. Why don't we figure out how to make the best use of that property instead of replacing the gem we already have at 244? As a resident for more than 25 years, I've seen the city do some pretty silly things, but evicting Waltham Fields Community Farm would be inexcusable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Abrams. I live on 54 Fuller Street. And in 1984, I joined the Massachusetts Orchid Society, and I am a director. And we were meeting at the field station and had been for a while in 84, and we were there until the ceiling fell in. And since I live here, I've been driving by every few months and checking the doors. And last year, I actually spoke to someone named Stacy, who was so excited that we wanted to come back as soon as we could. And she told me to call in October, and I did it over and over, and there was nobody there. And we would love to come back, and I'm sure the Irish Society and the Rose Society and the Daylor Society, all of which I've appointed, would all like to come back. It was a great space, and
Hi, I'm Barbara Pastor Road, 174 Moody Street, which is right across the street. And I'm director of Meadowscaping for Biodiversity. And I'm thinking of another use in addition to what we've got. That land would be perfect to grow native plants. Now, I know Grow Native is here and Grow Native Mass. And native plants are essential for the future. They sequester carbon. And nature is important for the future. We need to save this natural space. And biodiversity is one of the things that's lacking right now in the world, because they're building so much around everywhere and they want to keep building. So I know that probably most of you don't know what biodiversity is. Does anybody know what biodiversity is? Yay, I'm so grateful. So what I would see with this property is an additional section made with native plants that we could sell. We could sell to all of you and get them at cheaper rates than when you go to the New England Wildflower Society. And you would be doing something good for the air, for the water, for us, and for our kids who might work there. It would be really good for the kids that work there. And if you want native plants in your yard, just contact me, and there's a garden across the street. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Morrison. I'm a longtime breezer of Waltham. And I just remembering back in the 80s of driving down Beaver Street and seeing DeVincent Farms and going to DeVincent Farms for years and just loving that. And then, of course, Bethany took over that property, and I was sad to see that. But I think our natural resource of the Waltham Fields is so crucial for the well-being of our community, especially for the well-being of children, to learn, about caring for the earth. I hope that the city and all the elected officials will come to your senses of saving open space instead of, let's build over the open space. So I think we should just keep it as it is. I think it's perfect as it is, and if there's any way we can expand or whatever we have to do to have it more inclusive for other people, who so be it, to maybe improve transportation up there so people can enjoy the area also too. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Paul Wilbur. I live at 65 Circle Drive. I'd like to talk about the environmental pollution and remediation at the site. I'd like to address the city councilors in the room. Have they read the environmental reports? Have they read the LSP action plans? And could you please explain them to this audience and why those plans, as written, would close off such a large portion of the property? And do you agree with those plans as written? Thank you. And also, I love the, all the activities going there. And if we also put some solar power down there, that'd be a great addition to the town. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia McDermott, and I live at 40 Coffee Ave. Thank you, Councilors Bradley-MacArthur and Darcy for hosting this town hall. I am grateful that you are taking the time to hear from the public. I'm disappointed that big decisions are often made without public input in Waltham. I wish opportunities like tonight weren't as rare, so our city could truly reflect what is wanted and needed in our community. I would like to take a moment to also share my disappointment in the mayor's proposal to split the area for environmental remediation. I am also disappointed that the majority of city council approved this proposal, even after the farm and community asked them not to. Remediation can happen without negatively affecting the farm. We just need leadership that is willing to collaborate. As to what 240 Beaver Street should be used for, I'd like to echo what previous speakers have stated. I want to see the Waltham Fields Community Farm continue to operate in the area they have been for many years. The farm provides food access, hunger relief, and educational programs to our entire community. As a city, we should be uplifting organizations like the farm, not replacing them with things that only benefit a select few individuals. I know Waltham is made up of residents that help their neighbors. Supporting the farm is one way we can do this. Thank you again, councilors, for creating this space for public input.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patricia Eduardo. I live near Kizzy's. I'm also a teacher. I was a former core employee at the high school. Speaking on a little dry now. Former science teacher at high school. I have a set of twins, daughter, son with Down syndrome. They both go to Northeast. I don't know if anybody knew this, but the Learning Garden where my daughter goes, they're working on having an inclusive program that would include my son. I'm going to run out of time. I might get back in line. Just saying. So, how many of you, I'm just curious, went to the public meeting or watched it on TV? Yeah, okay, great. So, a couple quotes. I'd just like to bring this up. Councilman, you want to follow through on that commitment and nothing more, which was in regards to cleaning up the land, right? We're only one matter that you're voting on. And I'm here with a renamed farm called Cornelia Warren. Where did that come from? Seriously, I don't even understand. One of you said at the public meeting you understood the need for public input, right? And you made a motion or you did something fancy to get a public meeting. But it was about the concern about the cleanup. And now we're here talking about giving you input about our concerns about a new set of newly named land that is now going to be taken over by who? And I just want to say an analogy. I definitely have to get back in line. I know many of you have children, and I'm a science teacher, right? A chemistry teacher at that. Lab equipment, acids, bases, stuff like that. And who are you trusting your children with? When you have an issue, are you really going to go to the superintendent who's been in there for 10 years, or are you going to come to me? So I really don't understand how this list of concerns, some of this makes no sense, by the way, how we're even here today at all. Like, I'm really mad at a lot of you in government right now. I don't want a maze. What is that? And we're still here today, and now we're not just talking about the dump. Magically, I come here and I hear, there's a new farm, there's a new name, and it's cut in half. Would we be here if, like, I don't even know how we're here, I'm sorry, I'm so frustrated. So my recommendation, and I'm not the expert, I'm the expert in my classroom. My recommendation is to leave it to the experts, which is none of us. Well, okay, some of you. And you know who you are. Those folks who are the stewards of the land, quote unquote, stewards of the land who have been there for years, who have done everything that they have done, go to them with your recommendations for the native plants and go to them for your suggestions. Why are we going to the mayor and the council? That's not our expertise level. I don't understand this. Right? So I'm really just asking, kindly, to just say, you would come to me with a problem in the classroom. Why are we not just leaving those experts to settle the land and figure out what to do with it, to maximize it? Don't strip it and take it away. I want a learning garden. I want my son to be able to go there, right? I want my kid to go to the woods. I want to be able to go to the CSA. And I want my kid to be able to go to the CSA. And I want the farmers who farm the land to go teach my kids about farming. And then if they want to go to the Cornelia Warren Field, they can walk across, play ball, do the climbing wall, play in the playground. Okay.
Hello, my name is Emily Slapek. I live at 241 School Street. I've lived in Waltham for 26 years. I have seen tenants, people of all ages, bees, butterflies, and birds all live cohesively at the farm fields, and I've seen biodiverse land in Waltham stripped, and I do not want to see this piece of property stripped like I've seen other biodiverse properties here in Waltham stripped. Please do not strip this biodiverse property. I ask the councilors to please protect this land, and also thank you for the time for this open forum meeting.
Hi, I'm Debbie Von Reichenberg, 17 Marguerite. I don't really have anything prepared, and I don't want to repeat things that people have said, that the farm is precious to me. And, shoot. I never knew that, like, I used to go to farmers markets, and I would think, oh, I don't need to buy carrots, I can get those in the grocery store. Oh, my goodness. I mean, just carrots. Kohlrabi. People say, what do you do with kohlrabi? You say, all right, listen carefully. This is complicated. You peel it, and you slice it, and you put it in your pie hole, because it's that good. And the goodness that's coming out of this soil, and the goodness of the people, and the goodness of the generosity, and the generosity to our community. And you know, the councilors talked a good talk. Oh, we don't want to destroy farming, so let's just split the farm in half, and I don't know, we're gonna. That's not going to work. And I know that there's sensitivity around the legal thing about not, you know, colluding with the tenants, whatever. But if you split the farm in half, you're not going to have any farm, because no one's going to come. I mean, you know, our friends are going to do the best they can. But long term, farming's not going to work. So we need that property intact to have a successful urban farm. It's one of the things Emma was saying that, you know, is what drew her to Waltham. It didn't draw me to Waltham, but it's making me stay. And I just, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. It can't go like this. And I echo the frustration of the lack of public input and just our opinions being heard. And let's talk about the survey, about the garden plots. I mean, it wasn't, do you want garden plots or not? Or would you rather have a community farm where people are professionally taking care of the soil? No, it's how big do you want your garden plot to be? Come on. I know that, you know, I of course root for Waltham Fields, but I recognize that the RFP process has to happen, and that's fine. But I want a farm. I want it to be Waltham Fields. But I want a farm to be there, and I want it to be edge to edge like it is now. That's all.
everybody. I'm Betty McKenzie. I live at 23 Pinevale Road in Waltham. I love Waltham. I couldn't believe this was happening. And what would I like to see there? I would like to see even more farming and then other agricultural type things. It's hard to believe in this time of uncertain supply chains and carbon sequestration and climate issues that we're thinking about taking land out of farming or putting people who are less experienced, as some folks have noted, in charge of farming. I used to be co-director of a small nonprofit called Red Tomato that worked with 40 or 50 farms from Maryland up to Maine. It's still in existence, great organization. And they, we tried to get products into supermarkets and other stores and restaurants from these farmers because it was darn hard to do their work, and marketing was even harder. And one of the things people may not know about farming is that every year you farm, you can produce more product usually. So if you've been farming 2 years, what you can do is real different than if you've been farming for 10 years. Partly due to the soil and the improvements that, we know Waltham Fields has done, et cetera. But you can't just say, hey, I'm a farmer, I can be in the RFP, and I'll do something great. They're producing, what is it, 100,000 pounds of food a year? And now we're going to take 40 or 50% of the land away. I say, where is Walthamites and other local folks and people who are food insecure, where are they going to get their food from when it's cut in half? And I don't think enough discussion has been made of that. Why do we need a greenhouse, by the way, is another question, and I know it's come up. Well, would you take away a stove from a restaurant? A few people have heard that, farming takes, I'm not an expert, I have worked with farmers, so I picked up a few things. Farming takes a very specific annual, if not multi-year calendar. So would you say to a bookstore that they can't sell books in the busiest time of their year, in November, December, when they get 80% of their sales? A more considered process could be possible, and I think it would have given a couple of years to make the transition instead of a couple of months. So I hope for more farming. I'm glad to see all of you here. I hope that the rest of the city council and the mayor can be convinced that that more farming at Waltham Fields and working with the current tenants and talking with them is a more productive way and better for us citizens in Waltham. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pam Hess. I live at 271 Florence Road here in Waltham, and I also happen to be an executive director of a community farm in Weston. I have gone through the RFP process. I understand all that goes into building a farm, farming, all the hard labor, the volunteers, the staff, the dedication, the decades of work it takes to have a productive farm. I also understand that there's land you need for farming, and then there's the land that you need for your infrastructure, for your greenhouses, for where you're going to store your equipment, where you're going to put your staff. There's more to farming than just the acres that you need to farm. I understand there's an RFP open. I know it's only part of the land, but it's a place to start. I know the farm is going to actively put in for that. I doubt there's any other farm out there who would put in for that RFP, and anything that those of us who farm locally can do to help make sure that Waltham is there farming on that half for as long as possible. I know we're all here behind you to do it. I also really implore all of our city councilors, all of us here in Waltham, to really get involved in what's going to happen on the rest of that land. We all know it needs to be cleaned up. I'm not an expert on how to clean it up the best way, but what I really hope is for open communication on how it's going to clean up the best it can so we can farm, we can have this land that's clean for all of us to use, to eat healthy food off of. Because those of us here who can afford food want to make sure we have it. We want to make sure those who can't afford have access. Fresh food is a right for all of us, and we want to make sure regardless that people have the right and have access to healthy food. I want to make sure that the mayor hears I believe we all want open communication. We want to know what's happening now and in the future for that land, and we want as much of it to be there farming for us and our future, for my kids who live here in Waltham, for all of our kids, and for us and our future generations, that there's farming available and food for all of us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Becky Holloway. I live at 16 Cheryl Lane. I love the farm. I've been a CSA holder for over a decade. My kids have grown up picking in the fields. We love the learning garden. When I heard around the holidays that all of a sudden the farm was going to lose the learning garden, lose the greenhouse, lose half their acreage, it seemed like a sneaky way to sneak it in through the holidays. I couldn't attend that meeting. It was a busy time of year. I did email a lot of city councilors, and I heard some really disappointing things back. This is just the way it is. This has to happen. There's no other alternative. I can't believe, looking at the map, that there's not another alternative other than taking all of that away for the summer. There's no camp. And that's hard. It doesn't seem like a good reason. And I don't understand why we're here talking about reuse. Like, why is there another use? It is being put to good use. I don't see a better use. And the only use I've heard suggested by the mayor is an ornamental maze, which makes no sense at all. I don't know where that came from. And all those other uses on that survey, they're great uses of land. We have fertile. There's nothing going on over there right now. City owns that land. Do something with it. Those things can go other places, and don't take the farm away to do those things.
My name is Carlson Carter. I live at 74 South Street in Waltham, and I'm going to be the skunk in the garden here. I thought this meeting was going to be to seek opinions on alternate uses for the farm, but it sounds like it is just everyone supports the farm, which I understand. And I would only ask that the city councilors who organized this meeting would publicly state that that is their position, and they're not really looking for alternate uses for the property. We spent $20 million to buy this from the state. It no longer belongs to the state. It belongs to the taxpayers of Waltham. And frankly, I would like a return on my tax dollars in this. And I don't think we're going to get it by leaving it as a farm. It's not 1922 anymore. As a matter of fact, all of Waltham used to be farms. This used to be North Waltham. The building right over here used to be North Junior High School. The rest of the city was all farm. We no longer need to have farms in Waltham. Now, one of the things that I heard in the master plan meetings that they were having was the need for housing in the city. And one of the things that prevents us from having adequate housing is we have two universities in Waltham, Brandeis and Benton. This property happens to be adjacent to Benton. They wanted to use it for dormitories. Now what happens right now is that all of these students who are not housed on campus, they go out into the community, they occupy single-family homes, they occupy large apartments that would normally be going to families, and if this land were available to them and they were interested in it to build dormitories, it would free up housing in the city. That's our big need of housing, and not farms. If you want farms, you can go right out on Route 2. There's plenty of farms there. There's no shortage of food. I understand it's a chaotic fantasy for people to want a farm, but $20 million to spend on this land to me is not cost effective. We talk about open space. All of North Waltham has plenty of open space, and I drive by it a lot. I don't see a lot of people walking on the Fernald property, the Met State property, Prospect Hill, and now we have this open space here. Go on the south side of Waltham, and you're not going to see any open space. And that's what we should be concentrating on, allowing people to have a little bit of fresh air and an open space to breathe. But, so anyway, I don't think we need the farm, and I think it's a bad investment. I would have bought it in the first place.
I think this is terrible. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I don't think there should be any booing in this room. Everyone has a right to their opinion.
Hi,
My name is Matthew Schultz. I live at 49 Greenwood Street. I want to thank the city councilors and the center for being here. My wife and I moved here in 2019, just before the pandemic. And we've been CSA holders for 7 years, and this type of setting is, what community engagement is about, hearing different opinions, So I think the assumption that somehow the city councilors are baking this into some sort of predisposed outcome neglects the fact that these are our citizens and people here that are showing up and voicing their opinion. And, me and my partner's opinion really went well, because after moving here, we got involved in the community. I volunteered at the farm for Farm Day, and there's a letter I'd like to share that represents how I feel about what we should be doing with this land. And more than just that reason, I think it also represents explicitly the intentions of what the farm should be, especially given that I learned today that it was officially named the Cornelia Warren Farm. And this is a letter from Margot Warren, Cornelia Warren's ancestor, the last one in the family to carry the Warren name. Greetings, Waltham City Councilors. I understand the land which Waltham Fields Community Farm has cultivated for nearly 30 years is under threat of being substantially cut due to plans proposed by the city of Waltham. This plan flies in the face of the reputation of my ancestor, Cornelia Warren, who as a lifelong philanthropist was particularly generous to the city of Waltham, where she lived most of her life. Her will specifies that the donated land be used for public benefit. My name is Margot Warren. Cornelia Warren was my ancestor, and I have the honor of being the last one in the family to carry the Warren last name. Waltham Fields Community Farm serves its community growing desire to source healthy whole foods, practice organic farming methods, and build community through a cooperative effort. Not to mention Waltham Field Community Farm's annual production and distribution of tons of healthy food to low-income families and school children. It is my sincere wish that you will consider alternative abatement options for the required area that were proposed by the Friends of Cornelia Warren Farm, and that will allow Waltham Community Farms to continue serving its community from all of the agricultural land that it has farmed for decades. Cornelia Warren's legacy would be ill-served by reducing any part of the farmland cultivated by Waltham Fields Community Farms. This will ensure the legacy of my great ancestor, who has benefited so many of your citizens. Margaret Warren, January 23rd, 2023.
So, my phone died, so you'll have to forgive me if I ramble a little bit. My notes are gone. So, my name is Daniel. I live at 147 Ellison Park. I am an avid environmentalist. I'm a Harvard biologist. And when I look at the open space in Waltham, I do so with a biologist's eyes and through the lens of considering the ecosystem services it provides. So Waltham is incredibly blessed to have as much open space, green space, conserved space as we do. And while we may not think of the farm as providing the same level of ecosystem services as a forest or a grassland or a wetland, it's providing a far sight more than a hedge maze. Certainly more than a parking lot or rows of dormitories or single-family housing or apartments or, a golf course or who knows what else they put there. I mean, lack of transparency is definitely clearly a problem for a lot of people, myself included. Look, this more than ever is a time when we need to be considering our environment. It is not something that happens out there in national parks, hundreds of miles away. It happens everywhere. It happens in the heavily urbanized cities of the East. It happens right in our backyard. I think everyone would enjoy that. It's nice to have birds and butterflies and other critters hanging around here with us. And when it comes to conservation, yes, different land provides different levels of, of bang for your buck, but oftentimes it just comes down to the more land that is being preserved, the more benefit you're going to get. So, if we want to develop land, if we want to, build more housing or pave over more places or whatever, I say, do it somewhere else. Upzone residential areas, if housing is a concern. But let's not, throw away the precious green space that we have, the undeveloped space that's such a rarity inside, 995 ring, inside one of America's biggest metropolitan areas. Let's not pave it over and develop it and make Waltham look like every other town in America.
Hello. My name is Tammy Donald-Pittman. I live on Middle Street, Waltham. I'm a 20-year Waltham resident, food writer and cook author, shareholder at Waltham Fields for many years. My kids grew up there. I'd like to voice my support for Waltham Fields Community Farms. I think I'm echoing a lot of what people have already said, so I'll keep this short. Waltham Fields has been farming this land successfully for decades. They know what they're doing. It's been an invaluable community resource for me and so many other families. Over the years, the farm has donated hundreds of thousands of pounds of fresh produce to struggling Waltham families, public schools, hunger relief in general, as well as, we know, the outdoor educational opportunities for children and free seasonal events for the community. It's very unusual for a city to have a working farm, especially one that engages in sustainable land practices. With climate change and the U.S. losing farmland at an alarming rate, this fertile plot in the heart of the city is precious. It fills an important and often overlooked gap in the community, access to affordable, nutritious local food. I believe the community farm model on its current acreage will have the biggest possible positive impact on our city while simultaneously contributing to the open space that we can all enjoy. I hope the city will support the good work of Waltham Fields Community Farm and join together as responsible, forward-thinking stewards of the land. Thank you.
It's a tough act to follow and offer with a prepared speech. I don't have a prepared speech. My name is Saskia Osting. I am not a resident of Waltham. I'm a resident of Arlington. But I am a 20-year shareholder at Waltham Fields. I have 2 children that grew up on this farm and have been fed by this farm. I'm not a church person, and I've always said the farm is where I do my community service. This is where I've been providing money so that people can get food. That isn't like packaged excess food, and so that's my background from a personal perspective. From a professional perspective, I am actually a licensed site professional. What cleanup of contaminated properties is what I do for a living, and I have done cleanups of multiple complicated contaminated properties, often in residential areas, and it's a difficult process. It's in the sense that it's scary. It's for the people that don't necessarily understand the process, but it's a little bit like having surgery, right? You have an issue that can only be resolved by surgery. You do the surgery and then you go into recovery. It is not usually an amputation. And what this feels like is that rather than, doing a minor surgery here, we're like lopping off like a leg and an arm from the farm, and I don't think that's necessary. Normally, the process is very different, where the LSP would be explaining to the community how they would like to do the cleanup, and what is needed and what areas need to be used for a certain period of time and put up a schedule. None of that has been provided. I understand that an RFP has been issued and maybe at this point bids have been received, but, and that's, it seems like a very limited project. Even if the access is the way that it's proposed, it shouldn't be like you're taking this land away forever, so, and I understand there's also other work that needs to be done, these old greenhouses, not the ones that Waltham is using, that I remember putting up. I was a volunteer helping put those up, so I remember how they were put together. But the old ones, like the glass ones with all the lead paint, that's not even an MCP process. That's a separate kind of, this hazardous building material that needs to be addressed. But it's a separate, it's not even part of the RFP. So that again should be done. That actually would be a great area to add the parking that the mayor seems to want. So I just think the process is just unusual. It just, from my perspective, for the mayor to just say, I need this whole area forever and I don't need to explain to anyone. That is very unusual. Usually, the LSP would say, this is what I need to get done, and then you move on, and the community moves on, and people who are worried about their home values realize that once the remediation's been done, the neighborhood goes back and it's actually better than it was before, and whatever that land was can go back to a better use. So, thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Amy Myers. I live at 58 Milton Street, which is in Ward 7. So let me preface this before I start by saying I support Waltham Fields. I support their continued use of the space and the land. Just to make sure that I'm clear on that, because I want to touch on a few other things. I do want to say my experience with Waltham Fields is I've been a volunteer there for several seasons, including this past season, in which I volunteered to help pack up boxes of fresh, local, amazing produce that Waltham Fields provides to the community free of charge. So 100 families a week, for I believe it's, Stacey, correct me, 14 weeks, through their growing season. Produce that they could otherwise allocate to a CSA or sell in their farm stand, they provide that out into our community. Let that sink in for a minute. This is for families who may not necessarily otherwise have access to produce or to produce of this quality. It's not seconds, right? It's beautiful, gorgeous, locally grown produce. Like, I can't think of a better use for the land than that. I'm also really disappointed in the entire process, to echo what some other folks have said. When I found out about the city council meeting just after the Christmas holiday, just before the New Year's holiday, I did reach out both to my ward councilor as well as one of the councilors at large. I was not particularly happy with the response from either. I did get the feeling from the councilor at large, but more than feeling, basically stated, it's really too bad that misinformation is being spread. The problem is information is not being spread. We are not being told what is going on. And I was informed, I've expended a lot of political capital, and that's in quotes, a lot of political capital to make the purchase of this land happen. We don't want to shut down the farm. Well, technically, they may not be trying to shut down the farm, but functionally, if you can't allow them to plan for their season in a routine way, in a way that works with their process, and you're making them jump through hoops, you're making them tear down their greenhouses, that is functionally shutting down the farm, right? And if you say, oh, we need to do this remediation, I don't think anyone disagrees that the remediation needs to happen, but it needs to happen in a way that if everyone agrees this is a great resource, then let this resource continue. Let this resource continue and don't drive it out of business so that in 2 years, when the mayor is done with her remediation and says, okay, now somebody can farm on here again, there's no longer an organization to farm that land. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael Vasquez. I'm from Waltham, lifelong resident. No big deal. I was a little late to the party on the farm in CSA, and the first time I went there was just like, it was just love at first sight. It was like the food was amazing, pick your own's amazing, everybody's out with their kids, everybody's doing their thing, nobody's staring at their screens. And when I got the survey about, you know, like what you want to happen or whatever, it was pretty jarring. It was kind of insulting. I mean, I don't see a reason for a field house. I mean, sure, you want to clean up whatever mess is there. I understand that. But it just kind of seems ridiculous to get rid of this or to move it off or to in any way infringe on what's actually happening at that farm. I think the CSA is doing a great job for all of us, for our city, for everyone. And I don't want to see it go. I really don't. And as far as I'm concerned, like, the food I've had there, the shishito peppers alone are a return on my tax investment. So I hope the city council, I hope the mayor, I hope they figure something out, because it is worth it to keep it as it is. Just leave it alone. That's all you have to do. This is our city, and this is our farm. So please, let's keep it.
Hi, I'm Emma Smith again, still, rather, 32 Cutter Street. This time I'm here to talk to you all as my role and the hat that I'm wearing as a public health professional, specifically in the field of nutrition. As I mentioned before, Waltham Fields Community Farm is one of the things that really drew me to Waltham, that really put Waltham on the map for me. It is rare to find a fully functional, large-scale agricultural farm in any urban area, especially in the Northeast. And so that was kind of key number one, right? When we go to thinking through the things that Waltham Fields Community Farm offers to the community, right? They are a community farm. It is all the things that we learn about in nutrition, in public health, as being things that are beneficial for a community, for the community's health. Food is a social determinant of health. It affects all of us. We all need food. It helps us to grow, to be nourished, to survive, to be healthy, to be well-rounded as individuals, right? So I want to highlight a few of the things that you all have talked about as being important to you, as being important in your community that Waltham Fields Community Farm provides, and really put them into context a little bit about the broader picture, right? When we moved here, my kids are enrolled in the Waltham Public Schools. The menu came home the first month, and on the bottom of the menu from the Waltham Public Schools says, "Greens provided by Waltham Fields Community Farm." The farm-to-school system is like a gold standard in the field of public health. It is a highly sought-after relationship to build, to have a local farm, a local source of produce to be directly going to the people in our community. Our children, your children, eat this food whether you know it or not, right? The residents of Waltham, the children eat this food whether they know it or not, whether they go and buy it or not. That's one thing. A number of people have mentioned the food justice aspect, right? The food that Waltham Fields Community Farm gives to different organizations to provide to low-income minority residents, right? Again, this is a gold standard that the dollars are staying in Waltham, right? The food is staying in Waltham. It is grown locally. Our soil is excellent, right? And so it has higher nutritional value than something you might find on a grocery store shelf that's grown out of season, right? This is staying in Waltham and nourishing our neighbors, our community members, our children. The other thing I wanted to touch upon about why I would like Waltham Fields Community Farm to stay at this particular land at 240 Beaver Street has less to do with the land itself and more to do with the relationships that the farm has built. Another farm, sure, could come in and try to replicate all of these programs, but the relationships that the farm has built with the schools, with the different programs and organizations is irreplaceable. It would take decades to regrow that. That is not, you can't put a dollar amount on that. Thank you.
everyone. I'm going to be brief because I think everyone has said, just made really, really great points throughout the night. My name is Heather May. I live at 41 Mokema here in Waltham. And I'm also the daughter and granddaughter of farmers. I didn't grow up in Waltham. I grew up in Nebraska. And I learned how to care for my environment from helping farm the land. I have a son who's in the back. Oh, there it is. Okay, he's not on the screen right now. And I want nothing more than for him to be able to have some of those experiences as well, living here in Waltham. Beyond the fact that there are many, many ways to get a return on your investment with your taxes. And I think that providing a place where people are able to get good food, where people are able to learn, those kinds of things are priceless to me. So I think that that's a good return on our investment. What I would like to say to our councilors and our elected officials from Waltham that are here is that I continue to see this fallacy of urgency used again and again as a weapon against us. That something has to be done this second, it has to be done now, and we're not going to talk to the community about it. This city does not belong to the mayor. It doesn't belong to the city council. It belongs to all of us. And when we have seen over and over this, it's December, everybody's thinking about holidays, and oh, we have to right now vote on this horribly unthought out plan. I would love a chance to have meetings where experts in remediation come in. My husband is a construction guy. I've talked to some of his friends. They've looked at that plan and said, well, who came up, what company, organization came up with this? As far as I know, none did. So there's no thoughtful consideration of the community, and I hope that our councilors and our elected officials do not let that false sense of urgency pull this rug out from under us.
Hi, my name is Josette Akresh-Gonzalez. I live at 26 London Street. I just want to remind everyone that CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and we are the community. Big ag, big agriculture means pollution, means growing and then transporting food many miles for profit. And are any of us so full of optimism and Pollyanna outlook that we think that this small little organic farm can feed all the people? No. But could we make a dent? Yes. And Waltham Fields has been making a dent for decades. Some, our mayor included, argue that this land should turn a profit. They want to maximize their investment. But profit is not the reason Waltham rose up and started a fuss 2 years ago. We signed petitions and called our reps because we wanted the city to save the farm. It's not a fantasy to want to keep the last remaining farm in Waltham or even to expand. It should be easy for the city to work with the farm to figure out the best way to remediate the contaminated land. It should be easy. And it's not too late. The mayor and the city council can choose from this moment to take the farms at its word, to sit down at the table, to communicate, to collaborate, rather than dictate the best next steps. Thank you.
Hello, Mayor Kate Afton, I live
I want to talk about two things, investment and profit. First of all, we want to talk about a return on investment for the residents. The way you get a return on investment is trusting expertise and operating at scale. That's what the farm offers already. The farm is the return on investment, and this room is full of residents who see that. Second of all, process. The actions of the mayor and some of our city councilors have been disingenuous and opaque throughout. The mayor seems to claim that she's figured out the best plan and we should just trust her. In my experience, people who have the best plans have consulted with the community and are careful to operate transparently. When people don't do that, you shouldn't trust them.
I'll be quick, I won't need that time. Hi, John Tracy, also live on Beaver Road, go Ward 4. I apologize, I'm going to read off the phone because I wrote this as I was sitting here tonight because everything I wrote at home was much too angry. Sorry. So I don't think I can say anything tonight that hasn't been said repeatedly, so I'm going to keep this very short. The only message I have tonight isn't for the councilors in the room. Thank you for being here. My message is for my fellow residents. If you're frustrated with this process, with the lack of transparency, and with the lack of input, run. Run for office. Displace the people that are here. Why are we here? 8, 9 councilors voted for this? Why are we doing this? We have a few friends on the council. Thank you. You're the reason we're here tonight, and you have this opportunity because you made this happen, so thank you. You're not enough. You need help. You all, me, you, all of us, be that help. If you can't run, if you aren't ready to run, support people that do. You've added your voice tonight, add your voice to theirs. We have to be the change that we want to see. We have to be the reason Waltham's the place that you want to call home. So if that's what you want, come here, be here, add your voice, that's great. Get on the street, knock on doors, support people, and take people out of the council chamber that aren't here tonight. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Susan Lee. I live at 96 Doty Street. I have lived in Waltham for 40 of my 65 years. I left for 20 years to raise my children in Sudbury, where we had town meeting, where we all got to vote as a community. Well, that's the difference between a city and a town like Sudbury. There are a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up just as a point of fact. I keep hearing over and over again that this is the last farm in Waltham, but we do have some private farms. We have Mantenutos, we have Arrigo Farm, Disney Farm that's done it, Lyman Estate, places like that. But that's just an aside. I also want to play devil's advocate for just a minute and just point out that learning about agriculture and farming and so forth can be done elsewhere. It doesn't have to be done at this community farm. My granddaughter goes to school in Arlington. They do farming at her elementary school. So there are other options. But I tonight have learned stuff that I didn't know. Now, of my 40 years here, I am new to politics, new to getting involved back into the community instead of with my family. I learned tonight that this community farm donates tons of nutritious food. Now, the beginning of this meeting, I was sitting here thinking, why are people talking about food insecurity and hunger relief? Because I had no idea that this farm was donating all of this food to our residents who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to get that food. I don't know why the land needs to be cleaned up. I obviously need to do a little more learning myself on my own here. But if we move away from farming this land, there's no going back. And And when I grew up here, there was Davidson Farms and Pizzy Farms, and it's a shame that they're gone. To see houses on that property, it's just ugly. I think it's scary that the intention of the gift of this property can be challenged like this, that can just be bought out. That's a scary thing to me. And I do think that it's important that our city have a variety of assets, not just buildings, not just companies, but I think that this is a very important asset for our city. Like I said, I learned a lot, and I think that we should all learn from the purchase of the Fernal property. It's still sitting there. What the heck are we doing with it? I think that's a real shame. And that's it. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Reva Dolabowski. I live at 94 Lincoln Street in Waltham. I've lived here for over 40 years, and I have seen many things that I have been not happy with about Waltham recently, but one of the things that I absolutely love, and it makes me feel like this is really my home, is the farm. I've been a shareholder for over 15 years there. I've gone to a whole bunch of workshops long ago, helped in the learning garden. I was briefly on the board of the farm. I think it's just an incredible place. And the guy who talked about the one pepper that is, so important, maybe it's not that spicy pepper for me, but that's exactly how I feel when I'm out there picking cherry tomatoes or whatever it is, or collecting my stuff in the barn. I feel like this is an amazing part of the world, and I'm so happy to be here. And so, like many of you, I was totally heartsick to learn that the farm is in real jeopardy. And I could be, talk about some very angry things like the guy who just spoke briefly before. I won't do that, but I want to thank the city councilors who organized this meeting. I want to thank my counselor, Karen Dunn, who I think is back there, who did come to the meeting. And I'm very, very heartened by a lot of the wonderful, wonderful remarks that people have said tonight. So I hope that we can keep the farm as it is. I think many of the other ideas on the survey that we just got are great ideas. They'd be wonderful additions if we could do them, but I think what we have right now is a fantastic place, and I really want to see it kept for forever, for as long as we can.
Hello, my name is Alan Weismuller. I live at 53 Emily Ave in Waltham. I moved here 4 years ago. I think the two reasons I moved here were the low taxes and the farm. So to address, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, sir, but about comments on return on investment, my limited understanding was the property was sold by UMass, by the state, whoever, to the city of Waltham, not because they were like the highest bidder or they were going to, turn a profit, but because they were going to be stewards of land under, with the understanding that it would be a farm, open space, conservation land, etc. And in terms of return on the investment, I'm not sure if my math is right, but I believe if it's 28 acres divided by, $17 million divided by 28 acres, that's $600,000 an acre. I would love to hear how we can turn a profit on that kind of cost per acre. That's all I got. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Schultz. I live at 49 Galen Street. I'm a 3-year Waltham resident, and I have been a CSA
CSA shareholder at Waltham Fields Community Farm for 7 years. I echo the sentiments many of you have stated that this process has been confusing and disappointing, but I also want to add that that confusion feels very intentional. In full transparency, I'm the treasurer on the board of directors of Waltham Fields Community Farm. I want to thank so many of you for speaking and for being able to navigate such confusion over the last few months. And sticking to your guts and using your common sense to navigate this. Because I can tell you, even as a board member, I've probably been even more confused than all of you. Many of you have referenced the impact that Waltham Fields Community Farm has had on this community, and I would just like to add some numbers to that. In the last 5 years, through 2 of Waltham Fields Community Farms' food security programs, Waltham Fields Community Farms has sustainably grown and distributed over 150,000 pounds of fresh Waltham grown produce, valued at over $430,000. The only reason Waltham Fields Community Farm can do that and can donate so much is because of how much land is being farmed. There are values beyond farming that these organizations share, like fair wages, providing benefits, cultivating a work environment for people who want to work in urban agriculture. And the only way we can do this is by continuing to operate on the amount of land that we operate on now, if not more. Thank you.
Before our last speaker, I just want to make sure everyone here, thank you for sticking around, has signed the sign-in sheet with your information. I know there's a sign-in sheet going around. Oh, Nick has it. So if you have not signed that, because I know you've all been here for a while, and we have just one more speaker, but please, please make sure this clipboard gets passed around and everybody here signs that. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's me again. Daniel Pastor, 127 S Park. I came up here last time with my Lorax hat on. I came up again because I wanted to speak with my community member hat on. Waltham is not a business. I am not a shareholder. Waltham is my home. I'm not looking, when I pay taxes, I am not looking for a return on investment. I think my home value is going to be just fine. We're in the Boston area, it's the fastest growing housing market in the U.S. Yes, we're in San Francisco now, home value will be fine. I pay my taxes because I want to live in a community with nice things, like a community farm that does all of the nice things that people have come up here and talked about. I've learned actually quite a bit more that does sitting in the audience. Now, I am the owner of a very nice single-family home, and I would rather see every one of the homes like it, including my own, replaced with a triplex than see a single acre taken away from our open spaces. Have a good night, everybody.
Well, that kind of concludes, not really, that kind of concludes this evening, but I just want to remind everyone to please, if you can, fill out this form. We're doing a community survey, and we would like to have fresh data. So it's online, we'll blast it out, but if you can, there's a QR code here. I just want to remind everyone that this process is not done. There will be a follow-up. The matter is in committee of the whole on Tuesday because Monday is President's Day. So I urge everyone here, first of all, I thank all of you for being involved and giving me your story. This is not easy, and this is not easy for a lot of us here, and I just want to commend you for being here and staying involved. I do want to just further urge you to be involved and stay involved and follow this process. Tuesday night's very important. Your presence there will be important. Your voices there will be important. And that's really why we came out here to really put this on, because it wasn't being done. Last Monday we got shut down for saying, hey, we took a vote on this. We're supposed to do it. And we were told there isn't enough time. So we have to be careful, some of the councilors here, because there is an upcoming vote and we don't want to prejudice ourselves. So that's why we weren't taking questions. More than anything, we wanted to hear from all of you. So we came here to listen. We don't have public comment in council, but again, I just encourage everyone to send emails. Send it to the mayor, copy the entire council, let us know, let us hear it from all of you, and let's make sure that we get this right. So once again, I just want to thank everyone. Please sign in if you haven't signed in, fill out this QR code, and if you can, absolutely vote. Thank you.